Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Australian report for Wednesday, July 20th. So, we've been looking at this little pattern here. I mean, it looked like a really nice wave 3 here, and we're looking for a triangle pattern in here, which seemed to be suitable because this leg here couldn't really get 5 waves out of that. You could, but you'd be sort of like bending it to the max, and as a wave 4, the 38.2% retracement levels at where that wave A is here at 6.8, but it does appear that we're going to be going higher here towards the 7,000. So that wave 4 is going to overlap wave 1 at that point. So that really puts a spanner in the works at this point. So unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have to sort of look at the whole pattern a little bit differently in terms of an ABC here for the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for some sort of W here, and then at the same time also look at this, have to lift this up 1 degree of structure as an A wave here, a B wave over here, and a C wave over here for a B wave or an X wave. I'll just have to see how that plays out here, because you can label all this a WXY as well, as I have done before. But the main point here is it looks like, even though I'm a little bit unsure of the count, and CBA looks like it wants to push higher as well, and it's got the same sort of move as this as well, so we'll have to label this. I mean, if it goes to the, I mean, it's just not the done thing. You can take a wave 4, wave 4 normally retraces 40%, the 38.2, so it's sort of pushed through that to the 40. I could take it to the 50, that's not really a problem, but we don't want it overlapping wave 1, which I think that it may. So the bottom line is that I don't know the count. However, I do know that we're going to be going higher at that point. Now, I don't know if we turn and come down at that point, or we just keep going higher at that point and we just label this a WXY, and that's the end. I mean, basically that would have to go over to that point at that point, and this would go over to here, and this Y wave, wherever it is, I haven't got it here, and this is the end of it, and that's the low. So I don't know if we've got a low in place, or we're going to have a rally and then go down. And this is also a little bit of a mystery with the US indices as well. So it's possible to have a low in with the US indices and US stocks, but it's also possible for them to rally up. So I've been, as I mentioned today in those 2 videos, I'm going to look at it 2 ways. We're going to look at it with the low being in place, and we're also going to look at it as a corrective rally in these areas through here. Now, if there was going to be a low in place, then there's a good case for the US dollar to have a top in place, and that's actually looking quite good. Now, it really plays a strong part, because if there is a bottom in the indices, well, then there could be a bottom in a lot of other markets as well, like crude oil, and a top in the US dollar, and so there's a lot of things that play off this. So over the next few days, I will be explaining that, and we'll work through that. So the main things to know is that, first of all, for the short term, we're going higher for the ASX. Secondly, we could have a low in place, and we can go higher still in this, but we would need to get proof from other markets, such as the US dollar index having a top in place, or the Australian dollar having a low in place, and the euro having a low in place, and so on. But at the same time, we need to not only consider having a low in place, but consider the whole move up here as just another corrective move, moving higher. And in that case, we need to be on our toes, and we just need to go step by step with everything. That's one of the other things as well. So let's just, all we can do, all I can do to help is to understand the little move up through here and keep building on it, you know. So we talked about it yesterday, looking at it being you know, stronger and moving up. We looked at the triangle pattern as well. Let's move in and just go through the same things, the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart and so on. So we looked at this one here having a WXY up to the 6.8, but I'm thinking that we're going to, and it could just go to the 6.8 and fold over and come back down. So that's a reality as well. And that's a reality with US stocks as well. But there's some stocks that are showing us this is up for 1 here, back for 2 here, up for 1 here, back for 2. So a stronger move going up. And if the US dollar has got a top in it, which we will look at today when we get to the FX section for the Australian dollar. But otherwise, if we're going to be looking at a move up here, we're going to be looking at this as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then we would need wave 3, which would need to be, you know, as long or a bit longer than that, and then there would be wave 4 coming back and checking the highs here and having that correction across there, and then this wave 5 up here. Now with that, it can still mean that that all of this move here, this is what we're looking at as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave up here, and then coming down, not really an ABC, but it'll be something else. But we've either got that occurring and coming down, or we'll be pushing up again from that point, and we've got lows in place. So that's the story at the moment. So as we drill into the 1-hour chart here, like I said, we don't want to go below this. You know, as soon as we cross over this low here, then it's not going to be a wave 4 at that point. It's just simply not. So we would have to look at it as a if it's going to be corrective in that point, we're going to have to look at it as a wave X over here for that. So more of a complicated situation. So yeah, so if that moves past that low there, so we'll just put that in red, so we've got some sort of meaning. We can notice that. We'll know that it's important. So yeah, let's just see how this travels. The triangle pattern, now that we've made a new high above here, which we talked about yesterday on the 100 ticks. So yesterday we talked about having this top here as a possible C of E of 4 here. But at the same time, we're also looking at this move up here as wave 1. And we're doing that based on the US markets and then looking for an ABC pattern. Well, that came in quite nicely as the A wave and the B wave, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for that. We talked about going long above the B wave or back along the 700. Hopefully you may have gotten in a little bit earlier than that. So yeah, I mean, as far as I can see so far, we'll be looking for further upside. And Wednesday's got a habit of trading a bit lower in the morning session than being high in the afternoon. So just be a bit mindful of that. If that's going to be the case, just sort of look for, if the market's down in the morning, after we get a little push on the open, if you see the market down in the morning, then you can kind of expect it to be up in the afternoon, closing high. But otherwise, we need to look at this move here, as we have done with the US markets, as a 5-wave structure coming up here. It's got really nice support on top of group 1 of 6,700, so the 6,730. So but this trend here, in one way or another, it needs to be corrected at some point. So that's what you're kind of looking for. There will be some sort of dip in the market at that point, but the trend is to the upside. So we've got wave 1 here, wave 2 here, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here going up, and that will make, if I've got one there, we'll just put one in. That will make wave 3 at this point, somewhere up here. And I mean, this wave 3 could be really quite important in terms of another terminating, the whole trend terminating, because if we work in WXYs, then this one here could be wave Y at that point, and that's where it can terminate. So we'll pay special attention to that, but we'll see how the third wave travels as well, because if it's going to be a Y here, then this will be a W, X and Y here, and this means that if it's going to be a third wave here, then we want this third wave here to be much longer than wave 1 here. So I'll just move that out of the way, and that, and we don't need those now, so we can move those. We'll use that ABC there later. So yeah, so we'll compare the length of wave 3 here to wave 1. If they've got equality about them, same size, then it can be a wave Y at that point, and we would need to pay special attention to that. Now the next important level to the upside here is the 6.8 here. So that's going to be, it's going to be pretty close to the other low there too, isn't it? Over yonder over here for that. Looks like we've talked about those WXYs before. I need that. Need these. So that's where we are, folks. So for what I do know is that we're going higher. I just don't know what the larger pattern is at this particular point in time. And this also goes for CBA. This is our 38.2% retracement level. I could go wave A to here, B to here, then 1 and 2 here, and look at all of this as the 3rd and 4th and 5th to here. But I just feel that we're going to be going higher here. I know US banks are going higher. So if I look at US banks, we've got just for a moment, this is the Bank of America here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming up here. So we can have a low in place here, but there's also a really good case for an A and a B and 5 waves up for a C wave here, and then we come down. So we'll tune them in. So if you know, if our banks are doing, if US banks are doing this, well then our banks can do the same as well. So that means that we can push back up to above 100 here, you know, back up into this space. But how do we count this? My first thought was looking at this as 1 and 2 here, and then looking at this as 3, 4, 5 here. But I need to go back into the tick chart and check, you know, really pull all that apart to see if that's possible to do that, you know. But yeah, as it stands at the moment, if you want to trade long, well then this is going to the upside. I don't have good volume in these bars, in that move up there. I don't have good volume, so I wouldn't go long. If I had increased volume on these bars moving to the upside, well then I would suggest it, but I'm not going to suggest it at this point because of the volume's not confirming the price action. So that's sort of almost like divergence in a way, but I do feel that it'll be heading higher. So 95, you probably look for 95 as support, or just go long on the open if you're going to do that. But it does put all this particular pattern here into a bit of a spin. In terms of, if I counted 5 waves down here, for example, then we've got a low in place here, and then going long here. So if you're going to go long here above the 38.2%, perhaps don't do a full trade, just do a part trade, and we'll just keep an eye on it. But yeah, I mean, it could have a low in with wave 1 here, an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave. It's just a little bit odd, that's all. And if that was the case, well, of course, well, then this would be like wave 1 here and 2 over here for that. And then we're bullish at that point, you know. It's the old saying, if you're not long, you might as well be short. If you're not short, you may as well be long, you know. So, yeah, but I just don't have enough. I don't have enough boxes. I can see that this could work, but I just don't have enough confidence in in this little wave 4 here. I mean, this could also just be some W, X, and 3 waves up for Y, for another X here, for a W here, an X here, and a Y over here for this, working in lots of 3s, because that's what we're really seeing at the moment. But we've got 5 waves over here, so that makes it, you know, we could have a low in here, really. I mean, yeah. I mean, if I was buying it for myself, I would do a small trade here. If I was buying it from my mother, well, then I would want a nice solid support on the 100, you know, and a classic trading levels pattern at that point, and a bit more evidence. That's the best way I could put it. Okay, let's rock and roll. Iron ore. So with iron ore, there's possibly this B wave we've got over here. It's possible that this is all just an A wave here with a B wave and a C wave over coming up to here. Now, I don't know that either at this point. As it stands at the moment as an A wave and a B wave here and a C wave here, we should be taking out that low here. So I'm thinking that we've been making our way down here and everything's going fine. And the 650 here is a medium level. I know it's important. You can see it at this point. So as long as the price continue, as long as the market does not find 650 as support, then we'll stay with the bearish side. If I see that, and trading above is not support, it needs to do more than that. But if we see support developing on 650, well, then we need to, that will be our wake up call, okay? Otherwise, as long as it stays as resistance here, then we can stay to the downside. And that's one way of treating the markets as well, talking about stocks. So I just want to have a quick look at copper as well, because it's important to BHP and others. So it's a bit like gold, really, all of this particular pattern. It might have been hit a little bit harder, or maybe the same. So the logical count would be 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2 here, because this wave 2 overlaps wave 1 here. So it's a bit tricky to bring this down as 1, 2, 3, 4 here and 5 here, which I think you can do on some of the markets. But anyway, even still same, this move here from wave 3 to here, I'm not dyslexic, I'm just a bit stupid. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, the wave 4 is a little bit small, but I did go in and have a look at it 5 and 100, so I'll just go in. I think there's an ABC here for wave 4 and then down for wave 5. I think that, and then that will be the end of it at that point. And but like I said, if US dollar has got a low in it, US dollar's got a top in place, then a lot of these will start sort of going back the other way. So we need to be prepared for lows. You know, these are stretched down. Do you know what I mean? So let's just go to the 5 tick here. So I was looking at it like this, which I got off my 100 tick chart, but I won't take you into the 100 tick chart just yet. But yeah, looking at 3, 4 and 5, and then I'm thinking that we've got the A wave here. The B wave is probably in, because we can see the stochastics down here somewhere, sort of chomping at the bit, ready to go, but maybe another little low in. Either way, we're looking for, we'll call that in. There might be another low, but then we're looking for a move up here for this. So I would only call a low in here if we got 5 waves. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 at that point. And then don't feel like you miss anything, because it'll be an ABC pattern here, and we'll get it right back on the low here, and then we'll go up from that point. But otherwise, if there's just 3 waves back up to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here, then we'll have one more move to the downside at that point. So a nice strong bounce off the 30 here. So anyway, that's where I think we are for that. And I think that's where we are for gold as well, actually. But we need to be careful about the low being in place, and we'll take a look at that. Yeah, so BHP US as a depository note. If it takes that high out here, then we'll have to call a low in, but otherwise we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1. I mean, because basically we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I mean, markets do end like that, but it's you need a few other boxes ticked before you start calling it in like that. But we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, as long as that stays in, but we'll keep an eye on that one. For our local BHP here, it's much the same. We're looking for a low. I think we've still got further to move to the downside here with this, but we were wanted to move out and look after things a little bit. We'll see how that plays out. US BHP was up overnight as an ADR, up half a percent. So yeah, we'll see what our local BHP does, and copper being up and crude being up. Oh, crude's not part of this anymore, is it? Iron ore, we'll see how iron ore does today. If it stays under that 650, that will be important. This is another way, we looked at this here as wave B here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here being in play. We don't know if that's the case yet. If the 1650 becomes the resistance again, well, then we'll be on the short side, but otherwise we'll just see how that plays out for them at the moment, because that can, have a low in at that point. And the same thing for RIO as well. In that we can look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as having a low in for wave 3. So I think that in line with copper, we could be down like this, even though that Rio's not into copper, but some of these things move the same as well. So we'll just anyway, I just wanted to protect profits there, so we've done that. Better to take a small profit than taking a small loss. Crude oil. Okay, so crude oil was kind of interesting for me because it's possible that we've got the A wave in here. You could label this differently and a B wave here, but the important thing is that we've got the important thing here, whichever way you want to go to here or here, we've got that swing, we've got that swing, and then we've got this swing. And in this swing here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, with 5 waves in here and 5 waves in here. So it's possible to have a low in at this place here for this, right? So it's possible to have a move in for crude here. Yeah, and a top in for the US dollar. So we just need to see how this goes. I'm a bit reluctant to call it in as the low at this point. I want to move past a few things, and what I want to move past is I want to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here, and that could be a larger wave 1 and 2 here and going up for wave 3 here, or it can be an ABC pattern here, because when I look at the energy sector over here, this move down through here can count in 5 waves, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, we're getting this sort of pattern in some of the commodity markets. So I need to see if we're going to get an ABC back up here and then down again. Also too, we've got to remember that for natural gas, we can also count 5 waves down in this leg, and we're going back. We're a bit more advanced on the gas side to the upside, but this is just the US sector here. But there's big fish there, so we've got to kind of respect that. So for crude oil, what we'll do, we won't chase it. We'll allow this to finish off here, and this will give us a classic trading levels pattern: the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, an ABC pattern, and then we can go in long over this side. Okay, so not a big deal, but you don't want to get in here because it'll just carve you up. So anyway, that's where crude is. And natural gas, we were looking at natural gas. See, from the top over here, we had a reasonably clear count of 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here for the low, and then looking for the A, the B and the C wave to the upside. So a little bit more to go here. Sorry I missed this yesterday, but not a lot really happened. So we're in wave 4. Wave 4s could get complicated, so we could end up with wave 4 over here for this somewhere. Not quite sure yet. Doesn't look that good here. Looks like it's got 3 waves to the upside there. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's not fantastic. That's corrective, so we should take that top out. And I think we've probably just got the A wave here with, I don't know what's going on here. I have to sort of get my head around it, but we know that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, or 4 here, and then 5 up here. We're looking for it to come up closer to the $8 mark over here for wave 5 of C of what's the name here, and by the time that happens, that crude could be over here too, especially if wave 4 gets a bit more complicated here. Then they'll all just top out together and then roll at that point. So we can look to short that over there once we got the first 5 waves down. Anyway, we'll be 5 waves down to 7, and then we want 72 as the resistance here. So there'll be an ABC pattern here. and then down again at that point. So we can look for that short at that point. That's where that is. So I won't look at Santos and that, because they'll just be in this wave 4 area through here. I want to move on. So GDX here, I still think that we're in a 4th wave here. So GDX and gold had different tops going on. And they've sort of moved down slightly. They've moved down the same, but they're different. The only other thing that I could sort of say here for this is that I've got a wrong count here, but instead of having wave 3, 4 and 5, we will just have 4 and 5 down and have a low here, because if I look at where's US spot gold, so with US spot gold from the B wave top up here, we can look it down as 1. So we've got wave B here, and we're going down for wave C, right? That's always been the plan. So we've got 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave. The 4th wave here. Now the 4th wave is a little bit sort of dodgy in the way that you can count it, but I think that as some sort of A wave to here, B wave and C wave to here is probably the most simplistic way to view that. You could probably bring wave 4 over to here, or even over to here, and do things like that. That's all possible, I understand that. But otherwise wave 1 and 2, and also this wave 1 here, you could probably even bring that down to here and have wave 2 sitting here, and then green wave 3 to here, green wave 4 to here, and having a low in place here. But I don't want to rush in to say that there's a low in place yet, because I've still got this ABC pattern here for this, so I still think there's more downside to come on this. But yeah, I just think that, I mean, I've got this, yeah, so basically we're still looking for this wave 5, so still down here a little bit further with this. Yeah, I wouldn't turn bullish on this unless I probably, you know, I have to see a nice move to the upside. I have to see 1750 or something as a support as well for this. So I don't think we need to rush in just yet. I think there's still another one down, but I can see how you can configure this differently here. I can see that. Yeah, so, but the same with GDX as well. We could have one more low down and have this wave 5 here. I know that I could move things around a little bit tighter here for this. Still haven't seen a decent wave 4 here, you know. I mean, wave 2 is complicated, so wave 4 is going to be simple. So we'll see how that plays out. But I still think whichever way look, we've still got one more move down. But I'm starting, you know, in bear markets, everybody looks at it as being bearish, and because it is, you know. But you always have to start looking for the upside in a bear market, you know. Also Newcrest mining. So I think if you want to protect your positions, then putting a stop above yesterday's high would be a good way of doing that. If I've made a mistake here, I mean, it just looks like a third wave, so I'm quite happy with that, you know, and then a fourth and then a fifth wave to come down. But I could probably see that we could probably call a low in here as well by putting, say, wave 1 here and wave 2 over here, and then looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave here and the fourth wave over here, and then having this as the fifth wave down here. So it's possible to have a low in here. So if you want to cover yourself, then that's the place to do it. But there will be a bounce off the 18 anyway. But if you've had a good run out of this, then you might want to at least take some off the table at this point, and we'll have a bit of a look at it at that stage. What about silver? Let me just check on silver. Sometimes you get a bit of an idea from somewhere else. So even with silver here, we've got wave B up here. We've got 1 and 2 here. Nice strong third wave here. And then the fourth. And this is all a little bit rough in here. But if we look at this as 1 and 2 here, you know, I mean, we're not far away from being there. Do you know what I mean? We're not far. I mean, we could just put this here and here and put that in there, so to speak, you know, and have that low in place there. No, I think it's pushing it a little bit. I still, yeah, I can sort of see. Sorry, I just had a bit of a look. But anyway, you're getting the message anyway, that we can be quite close. And the reason for being this close is coming into the US dollar here. So let me just get in a little bit more data here. We've got 2, so maybe 10. So that's probably overkill. Of course it is. A bit hard to see, but basically, because I'm on a tick chart, we've got wave 1 here and 2 here, and then we've got wave 3 here and wave 4 here. So we've been looking quite close to the top. So I was thinking that we had all of this as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then 3 here, and then coming back for 4 and going up for 5. But we've had this strong move down here. So we may need to go back to the alternative, which was having 1 here and 2 over here, and then 3 here, 3 here, and 4 over here, which makes a nice 4th wave. I've never disputed that fact. But wave 1 was a bit small, and 3 and 4 and 5 here. But the thing that here is that we don't want this wave 4 here overlapping wave 1 here, unless we've got this up for 1 and A, B, C back for 2, and then going up higher at that point, and we'll get to that. But the fact that it's kind of getting very close to this old high over here, not quite there yet, but close enough. And you know, the point being here is I did count this a little bit this morning. I couldn't spend the time that I really wanted on it to take it down to the next degree, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for 2, and another nice strong impulse wave here, and then another one here. So we've got 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, 4th, 5th for the third, the 4th, the 5th here for the third, and the 4th, and then so we could be coming down like that. You know, if we've actually got a top in here, right, if we've got a top in here, that's going to be a bit of a game changer. That means the low in the indices could be in play, and the low in commodities can be in play as well, right? Because we'll get that weaker US dollar. I mean, all currencies around the world are weak. Everybody's everybody's had their printers running, but they still think the US economy is stronger than their own in their own way, probably more diversified in a way, I don't know. But anyway, that could be a top here. So we need to sort of pay attention to this a little bit. You know, we'll keep an eye on it because it will help us confirm a lot of other turns in the market. And the first turn that we'll be sort of looking at next would be the Australian dollar. So if there's a top in, place for the US dollar, that means we would have a low in place right here for the Australian dollar, wouldn't it? You know, we'd be going up at that point. So I've had this here as the A wave here and ABC for the B wave here, and then we've got 5 waves down here, which I looked at as wave 1 and 2 here, and I thought we're going down for wave 3, and we can count 5 waves in all of that. I mean, wave 4 is going to overlap wave 1 here, but that's sort of okay if it's sort of ending in 3s or something. So the other way to look at this is W, X and Y here, with a W, X, Y here as well, and we've got a low in place. So I'm thinking that we can have a low in place here, or we could just have an ABC and we can come back down again for that point. But if we get support on 70, we can trade. We are trading long at the moment in this, but look, we can see that 70 is a real flaw in the well, now a ceiling really, in the chart. So let's just see, let's just keep an eye, let's just, you know, we'll count this up here as corrective and also impulsive and bullish and all the rest of it. But I think in all fairness, if we get a nice classic trading levels pattern on the 70, then we can look to calling a low in here, and we can go with our WXYs at that point. Okay, so I just wanted to say that before moving on to, I think we're working with the 1 hour, won't bother with the 4 and all the rest of it. So this was our moves here so far. So we can have a low in place. We had that low there yesterday, but I have to put that to a WXY, so don't worry about that too much. And let's see, this is 70 up here. So let's see what we get at this point, you know. So we could look, you know, because if we're tracking it with the S&P 500, we're calling that on that day here, the 13th, 14th and 15th for indices, US indices, the S&P and that, we're counting 5 waves up here. So, well, in fact, what we're doing is we've counted, I have to double check this here because we counted as wave 1 and 2, then 1 and 2. But in this case here, I think that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is better. So we will see some sort of, at the 69 cents, we will see some sort of movement here with this. But we'll see what the bigger picture holds. So we want to see basically if we're going to get an A wave, a B wave and a C wave up here and fail to find support on this, or if we do, once we've got that high in place up here, if we do get support on that, well then we'll be going long for the longer term at that point. If you want to if you want to take some, I'm just going to remove that. You may be out of the market at the moment, but if you're long from this point, definitely take some off the market here, because we'll get a little classic trading levels pattern across here, but we should also be pushing up further. I just want to have a look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we could do that. I mean, this is how we've got the US markets running, so it's probably the right count here. Looking for a smaller correction in here for that. I mean, these are only half positions, so if you want to hold on to that, that will be fine. The market should be going up higher. Wednesday's got a bit of a habit of dipping down in the morning session and then closing higher for the day. So just keep that in mind as well. If you see that the first session is a bit becomes a bit soft, you'll see that firm up at lunchtime. Most of the volume's in by 11:30 anyway, you know. I mean, I wouldn't be doing intraday trading past 11:15 unless there was excessive volume over, you know, high normal volume in a market. But otherwise in the afternoon we'll see that pop back up again. So yeah, you might want to buy the dip, so to speak. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks. Cheers.